Ditch the Nerves, the podcast where you keep calm and lead on. I am Rekha Matthew, your host for this episode. Today, I am beyond thrilled to welcome a very special guest. He has not only mastered the art of storytelling, but has gone on to winning the World Championship of Public Speaking 2025. He is bold, charismatic, and brings a whole lot of laughter to every stage he steps on. Today, we'll dive deep into the man behind the title, Mr. Sabyasachi Sengupta. Sabi, I am so excited to have you in this podcast.
Thank you so much, Rekha. It's my honor. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Now, obviously, I have to ask you about the World Championship without doubt. But before we dive into that, if you had to set aside your title as a world champion, I would love to get into the heart of Sabi as a speaker. So, how would you describe yourself, or how do you see yourself as a speaker when you're on stage? And what really drives you as a speaker when you are conveying those messages?
You know, just before the World Championship, when I was a month away and I was pretty nervous, I met a friend for a coffee and he told me this that think of yourself as a speaker, we are nothing more than vessels. We're just people who are communicating an idea, maybe ours, maybe we have learned from someone. I mean, again, we all, every idea that we are presenting uh, has a catalyst or someone who's created it or helped you structure it. So we're just vessels. We're just communicating ideas from A to B. And of course, while we're doing it, we bring a little bit of our personality in it. Whether you're inspiring, whether you want to make people laugh, or you're the natural storyteller, we bring that little bit of that personality to that vessel. But in the end, as speakers or as speakers and storytellers, we are just vessels. We're communicating ideas that can help others in their journey as well.
That's a really nice analogy. Think yourself as a vessel to the message. Obviously, I've seen your World Championship speech many times, and you did something very interesting in the beginning, which is you started off the speech with a kiss to the stage, which is quite unexpected, yet very brilliant, I would say. So, have you always been this bold and courageous when it comes to breaking conventions or setting yourself apart from the rest of the crowd?
I think, when you really try too hard to stand out from the crowd, that's where I have failed as a speaker many times because then that desire supersedes the intention of telling a story and sharing a message that I want to stand out, I want to be different. And I think if you, not just world championship, I think if you look at speakers who try very new things or very unconventional things with the sole intention of standing out, those speeches do not land. They tend and end up being chaotic or clumsy or even missing the point. So I'll tell you a little story about the opening because it's was my opening was very different. My opening was the initial line that I have to be a doctor, engineer, or disappointment. In your head you want to have that great opening that captures, like, there's an unsaid rule: if you can get audience to laugh in the first 30 seconds, you've really won their trust. But I was really struggling, what. But having said that, it's not something I was really like. It was not must to have. I had a good line to start with, but it was generic. But while the speech was being crafted, while the message was there, it came naturally. Okay, why don't I start with kissing the stage? And then, of course, checking with my mentors, with friends, what it means, what can I be doing, and then the feedbacks that I got really helped. Like, like generally the kissing a stage. Like, I remember I spoke to Louisa Mantova, the winner from last year. She told me when I went down and kissed the stage and I said, I love you so, so much. She was like, oh my God, another speech about a dead grandparent or a dead dog. Another, like, that those kind of bit of a tear jerking speech. And then I get up and I'm talking to the stage. That created that contrast. I think as a speaker, it's nice to stand out, but don't do it with the intention of doing it, because then that intent should be to deliver a speech, and these are just ornaments that help, but they're not essential.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I don't know whether you find it similar to how I usually like when I deliver a speech.
Mhm.
I have a speech prepared, but the every time I practice it, I kind of feel new things coming out of the speech that you want to put in. So I'm guessing the kissing the stage bit probably came later on in your speech journey, and not something that you started off with when you drafted your speech.
4 days before the finals, or 4 or 5 days before the finals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's important to like let your intuition guide you, I suppose, in the way that you speak. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Obviously, you have won at so many levels, all the way from your own local club to area, division, district, all the way to the world championship level. Sabi, it's time to spill the beans. What is the magic formula for a winning speech?
Oof. Firstly, I think it's about taking it seriously, which is really an important thing, and at the same time also not taking it too seriously. I think that's the two ingredient. So I didn't win the club contest. I came second, and then this year they allowed two contestants per club to go to the area. And while I was 4 days away from the area contest, a good friend of mine, Pablo, was visiting me, and he was like, "Dude, we have done everything except practice on your speech." He's also a Toastmaster from Madrid. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do it. It was Thursday evening, and he's like, okay, now before we go for dinner, you're gonna practice the speech, and we practiced together. He's a brilliant speaker. He gave me nice inputs. Do this, do that, do the donkey years, and that's when I took it seriously. And at the area, I could already feel like, okay, this is going in the right direction. I remember after the area contest, my club president Naomi, who had actually won the speech from my club, she came to me and said, "Sabs, I'm so proud of you for winning it, and I have a feeling this is going to bring you a victory in semifinals. You're going to go up to the world championship this year." Of course, like at the area, if somebody tells you that, you're like, yeah, yeah, sure, we'll see. But as the levels happened, the competition, I started taking it seriously. But also something I've learned from another mentor of mine, Jacob, who always says, whoever has most fun wins. So the secret is to take it seriously, but not take it too seriously.
Yeah, that is really, I think, striking that balance of fun, but taking it seriously, having the right elements to the speech, and preparing enough yet to have fun along the way. So I think that's a really nice ingredient, I would say. And yeah, the World Championship is a very high stake environment. As you said, it's a serious place. You have to deliver something really well polished and prepared. Has there been like how do you handle that sort of environment in terms of your mental and emotional preparation? How do you handle that stress when you get on the stage? Your heart is racing and you're panting probably because you're going out of breath. How do you contain yourself to deliver a fantastic speech?
So there are two times when that heart is panting. One is the days before the contest. I think that's worse. And in the moment, it's. I don't have memory. I mean, I like I have
Sure.
said, it's like those 7 minutes. I have been not more present. Like in those 7 minutes, I was aware of everything, but my memory, I have no memory of those 7 minutes. So I was not able to process any emotion. Now, for someone who does meditation and also does scuba diving, I can tell you, even in those two things where you need that focus, my mind just flies all over. This was the only time, I mean, that there was nothing else I was processing. That's the power of being on stage. On stage, just before stage, I said this in my acceptance speech. The one thing that really shaped my this year's journey was detachment, and detachment not from the process but from the outcome. I cannot influence the results. I cannot influence who's going to win or what the other contestants can do. I can influence only what's in my hand, those 7.5 minutes. Nervousness and excitement are the exact same feelings. Only thing is we expect different outcomes. And if we can take away that fear of outcome or that nerves that comes from thinking about the outcome, you can turn nervousness into excitement. And when you're excited, you're having fun, and that's what follows. On a more practical way, something Cyril told me, that have three kind of people in your life right now. One, the mentors who will give you practical tips on the speech. One, the other one is someone who will take care of logistics, what you're wearing, your food and drinks, and those kind of things that you don't have to use brain space days before the contest. Luckily, I had that. And also someone who can be your emotional support, because we underestimate the need of emotional support in this period. You need someone to tell you, you are fine, you're doing great, you going to win. I mentioned my club president Naomi. From the day the semi-final quarterfinal results were out, 1st of July, every morning she sent me a message: Sabi, you are the rock star. Sabi, you got this, you are doing it. Even on days when I was not getting the idea for a speech, I had a message from her that inspired me, to the point when I was done with the semi-finals, I won the semis, and the first thought in my head was, people are loving this speech so much, should I have done this for the finals? Did I make a mistake? That was because you have to do two speeches. Naomi, I see Naomi coming with her hands, gives me a hug and says, "So proud of you. This donkey speech was perfect for semis, but that just not, that is meant for big stage. You're going to so win the world championship." Just I don't know how she read my mind, that was going on in my mind. Yes, have that mentors and someone who takes care of the practicality, partner or a friend, but the emotional support, reach out to someone to tell you need emotional support.
That is fantastic. And that's often something which people feel a bit afraid to do, to ask people to give them support, but rather expect it. And if they don't get it, get disappointed in the process. But that's a really good tip that you gave in terms of having those three types of people in your life. I know, Sabi, you have been part of Toastmasters for around 10 years. And through that journey, you've definitely seen a lot of stages, both within and outside your own country. Has there been an experience during those 10 years where there's been a vulnerable moment, you would say, in that journey that has been super transformational in your, as a person, as well as a speaker, that you can look back on and maybe share with us today?
I think there have been quite some. I think the first one was 2014. That's when I really took the contest seriously. It was a humorous speech contest. And I asked a friend, Jessica, to help me coach me for the speech. And we met like every week leading up to the months. And that's the first time I saw the power of a speech that has got proper coaching. So I think that 2014 humorous speech contest in Lyon, France, was really a transformational, because that's where I first time saw the power of coaching. And along the way, I mean, times when I didn't win 2016 and stuff, when I didn't make it to the top three, also I saw that I was like, creating a pot boiler to just tick the judges' boxes and everything. Valuable lesson that don't aim for the victory, aim for excellence, I would say. Aim for delivering a good speech, giving a connection. So yeah, that I would say those were the two big turning points. And in general, district conferences, going there, seeing the brilliant speakers, always had a huge impact.
Yeah. And how do you approach someone or choose your mentor or coach? Is it purely based on whether they won a contest or something that has impacted you or touched you when they spoke? What is your process when it comes to choosing your own coach?
I mean, I have to say, I did choose people who I've seen win and deliver good speeches, because when they say do this, there is a certain trust factor that they know what they're talking about. So that bias definitely I have and had. So that's one thing. And the second is, I mentioned, there's a good coach knows when a speech needs help and when a speaker needs help. So it's also about having that connection with your. I remember once I had this moment. I asked for feedback from someone, and it was a day before the contest, and it was very harsh. Like, this is not a good speech, and like I remember, like I had good connection at the area contest, but at the division I completely tanked. And because I went without conviction, this is a good speech, I didn't have time to change it. That day I needed someone to say, listen, bring your A game, spice this up, do this up. And I think so since then I'm very aware of looking for someone who I have that connection with, who I have respect for as a speaker and as a person, and who knows the difference, because they have also been on those high stake events and stages. They know when the speaker needs help, when the speech needs help. I had two mentors, John Zimmer from Switzerland and Aditya Maheshwaran, who also lives in London. These two have been in those stages. Not just they're impeccable speakers, coaches, but also people they were able to. They, like I said, they knew a week before what to tell me, an hour before what to tell me. That's just
Oh, wow.
the brilliance of a brilliant coach.
I'm hearing a lot of you being surrounded by the right kind of people who have propelled you to where you are, which is so inspiring to see. And also, a good observation is you have reached out to people and not really waiting for people to come reach out to you or offer you help, but you have instead reached out to people and asked for help. And you have surrounded yourself with the right people across all over the world to help you craft that perfect speech and craft you into the perfect speaker. So I think that is a fantastic thing that you've done, I would say.
100%. 100%. And I'm very lucky that I have been surrounded by wonderful people. I mean, even after winning the world championship, it has been quite a high pressure 2 months, because, part of me wants to swim in this ocean of attention, and part of me wants to capitalize this period in terms of work, business opportunity, in those periods, to keep myself grounded and have the right focus and the right purpose and the right discipline. It's important to have that right people, so that they can be good role models, and also call you out when you are not doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You did mention about work life, and I think anyone who joins Toastmaster, it is inevitable that the skills that you learn in Toastmaster spills into your professional life and your personal life. You yourself are a founder of your own company and having that sort of a leadership position within your own company. How do you think Toastmaster has had an influence in your professional life in every shape and form, if you can share?
I think tremendously. I think anybody who has been in Toastmasters and have taken any leadership role or done anything new in Toastmasters can say this. It makes us good leaders, better listeners, not just good speakers. It does so much else to our lives. I always say this: doing something new in Toastmasters is like painting in the canvas. If it's bad, you can learn and draw it again. But if it's good, you can use the same skills to paint your wall. So use those skills in your professional life, in your work life. Like the most common thing I've noticed when I was a junior analyst in my job many years back, the feedback giving, the evaluations. I remember a director had done a presentation, and I walked up to him and said, listen, I really liked it, and especially that little thing you did at the start or something that was really nice, that got the audience grooving. They were so touched because it was not flattery, it was giving genuine feedback, something I learned from Toastmaster, the what and why. He's like, can you give me feedback next time? I know you do this public speaking. So everybody appreciates that. So the audacity to walk up to someone senior and give a feedback came from Toastmasters. Take initiative came from Toastmasters. To lead a project and know that I can inspire, I can call out, I can give constructive feedback when needed from Toastmasters, and definitely also have that humility and receive feedback, even if you may be a seasoned Toastmasters, but there is a new speaker who's just done their icebreaker comes and gives you feedback. You may or may not agree, but to accept that with grace, also something a Toastmasters taught me, and I try to apply that as well.
Yeah, you become an all-rounded speaker as well as a listener in every way as a Toastmaster.
100%. Like I said, you can use the same skills to paint your wall. And I think that's something definitely I've learned from Toastmasters.
You didn't mention the motto that you follow, which is whoever has the most fun wins.
Yes.
It is very similar to one of the quotes by the Toastmaster founder, who is Ralph C. Smedley. And
Yeah.
he said, we learn best in moments of enjoyment.
Yes.
And how do you think this philosophy shows up in the way you lead your own teams?
I think it's very important to have fun, and I agree that we learn from in best in the moments of enjoyment. So if you see my workshops and trainings I've given, whether I talk about change or behavior change, and even in moments when the team has just been through a reorganization, so they're licking their wounds, they're hurt, I bring energy, I bring fun. Sometimes crazy improv theater stuff that brings that inner child, makes them enjoy or do things with Legos. I think when you have fun, you can even solve problems, you can solve conflicts that yeah, it's always worse in our head. And when people don't have the safe space to express, and by expressing I don't mean words, sometimes just using building it through Legos, giving people that safe space is makes them enjoy it and also vocalize it. So it's absolutely essential, and that is kind of the core fundamental of every work I do, whether I'm giving a keynote or workshop or doing consulting. Because if it's boring, it's mundane, me, it's not going to move. That doesn't move the needle.
Yeah. Having fun as you lead. Leadership often people relate to as being very serious and very strict and making people work a certain way, being authoritative. The way you sort of make it fun and let people lead with that sort of energy rather than making it a very serious environment for people.
And for me, like I remember, I one comment I got was that after winning the world championship, it's a very overwhelming moment for everyone. And at the dinner, at the president dinner, people are generally like sitting quietly, people talking to people, making pictures and everything. I was like the other end of the spectrum. I was on the dance floor. I was making everybody dance. There are videos of me dancing on social media, because it's celebration. Like there is a time to be serious, but that should not be the all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you had to go back to that moment on stage before stepping onto the World Championship finals to deliver your speech, and you could go and whisper one thing to yourself, what would it be and why?
The World Championship finals is nothing like we have experienced before. I think I speak for all the eight contestants. The briefing was in a boardroom. We had our own microphones, and there was big video recording. We saw the world champions walk in to congratulate us, give us blessings and wish us. We had a green room on the finals. Honestly speaking, yeah, I don't know what would I say, because I went with that mindset, I'm going to have fun, maybe I would just remind that one more time. Have fun, and you cannot control the results. You can control your thing, your speech. Make it memorable, have fun, and que
Yeah.
sera sera.
And you did also mention about the mistake side of things, which is in retrospective view, you can see the mistakes you potentially had made. If you had to go back and tell yourself about those mistakes that were coming up, what would that be? And how would you prepare yourself to face those?
Honestly speaking, I would not like to make those mistakes, if I'm honest. So they were not done deliberately, so I wouldn't recommend anyone to make deliberate mistakes. But if it happens, own it. Don't apologize for it. So there are one visible mistakes. I mean, there are a few mistakes that only I know because I know my preparation. But there, when I was going to say the finance town halls are as boring as the Toastmasters international meetings, but I forgot that line, and then I was going to the second line, and I came back because it was an easy, fun line. It was a lot of jokes in it, but I just did it with guts and didn't apologize. And yes, you can watch it on YouTube. You'll see the error is there, but in I don't think anybody who saw it live remembers it, because in the end, it's all about the overall experience. Yes, if I had apologized, I would have been like, "Shit, I forgot to tell this. Oh, my apology," or something like that. Then you are really underlining your own mistake. Own it, smile it, and do it with conviction, and that's what people want to see, your conviction. Nobody is looking, I personally think no one's looking for perfection. They're here to be entertained, they're here to be engaged. That's our role as speakers on stage, not to create, like, a masterpiece. I mean, to each their own, I'm sure. But I'm sure every world championship speech, someone somewhere has made a mistake. No one is that flawless, but some are visible, some are not. It's all about owning it and not getting nervous about it. When you
Yeah.
own it, people actually even like you even more.
Like even more. Yeah, that's so true. And I think having been on different stages for so long, you also like build the ability to bounce back very quickly. So you're not like flustered and sitting like blank when you make a mistake, but you quickly get to the next line, or you make a joke about probably what just happened and you
Yeah,
just get recovered pretty quickly. I think that is also a great part of being a Toastmaster and having been a part of so many different stages
I
for so
think
many
so too.
years.
And I think what I consciously do for that is prepare my speech in tranches, like different parts. I break the speech into, like, let's say, 7 episodes. So even if there is mistake in one, you don't carry that to the next one. It's like a fresh something. So once you move on from that, that mistake is behind you, and you're in the next episode. It's like a series.
Yeah, no looking back, no rewatching those episodes. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. What advice would you give to our audience who are really young in their own career and who want to find their voice and step up into high impact leadership positions?
I think, I mean, it may sound biased, but I will definitely tell them to learn public speaking, because public speaking does not just make you a good speaker, it makes you a great listener. I was just writing a content on reading the room. You don't know when, but while you are doing public speaking, you learn to read the room. And that is a skill that you can bring as a leader, because so many times leaders walk into a meeting room having no idea how people are feeling, and how they're responding to what he or she is saying. You read the room way better, you read body languages. Of course, you become a good speaker. You know when you need to inject humor, when you need to empathize, when you need to, be a good listener. You learn all of those things while practicing public speaking. It's one skill that gives you so many different edges that you can learn. And a part of my other work, as a behavior change consultant, I talk about the 4 roles everyone plays as a leader. Either you're a doer who's a good role model, for looks for the quickest and the easiest way of doing something, a healer who takes time to understand the pain and problem of the team, a energizer who adds that energy to get buy-ins and make people on board, or a big thinker who thinks in future. Don't just limit yourself to playing one role. Don't be always the energizer who's like, woohoo. Understand the situation, understand the dynamics, and be comfortable. Train yourself to be comfortable to play all of these roles based on the need of the situation and the team dynamic. Only then can you and your team can withstand every challenges that comes from technology, disruptions, wars, or macroeconomic factors that are not even in your control, and also team factors as
Yeah. Last quick fire round. Would love to know I think you've answered this, but maybe I'll just go again, which is one book or one quote that has shaped you as a public speaker.
Quote maybe, always take chances in life. If you win, you can lead. If you lose, you can guide.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Sabi, thank you so much for joining us
My
today.
pleasure.
You've shown that a little bit of madness and a lot of fun can take you very far, potentially all the way to the top of the world. So, thank you so much again. And we would love to continue seeing all of the great things you have to accomplish, both within and outside Toastmasters.
Thank you so much. It's been really a nice honor to uh, be in the podcast. Thank you so much for your energy, lovely questions, and the warmth you share in this podcast. Thank you so much, Rekha.
Thanks, Abhi. Thank you to everyone who have been watching us today and joined us for this podcast. We hope to see you all in our next episode. Until then, keep calm and ditch the nerves.